Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberembt, and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberembt. Housekeeping out of the way. Share this shit. We do not have sponsors. Don't think I ever will because I say too many things that people don't want to have to pay for. So if you get something out of this episode, if you think somebody else needs to hear it, please take the time, help us out, and share the shit out of it, okay? So we are here at RoofCon again. I talked about this earlier, but you wouldn't know that because this is a new episode. That was fucking stupid to say. But what I love about doing episodes at a conference, and especially a conference like RoofCon, is that I get an opportunity to sit down and have conversations with people that I might not normally. And today is one of those days, and I'm super excited for my guest today. Adam, is it Bensman?
Yeah.
I fuck it up every time because I read it funny, and I want to say Benison, and like, I don't know why.
I get Benjamin a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, I get Benson frequently.
Yes.
People call me Andy.
What?
I get Andy and Andrew frequently.
Really?
Oh, yeah. People can't get my name.
That's hilarious.
It's all good.
But hey, thank you for being here. I'm super excited, and I'm glad you brought it up when we were talking earlier. The first time that we got to meet was at American Contractor Show, having dinner, and we got to sit around a table of people that had just turned out didn't drink anymore.
Yeah.
Right? But we all had very different stories and very different paths.
Yeah, we did.
On how we got there. And something that I talk about in my keynote today is empathy, and the fact that, like, there isn't much of it today anymore, right?
It's getting lost.
And people don't want to hear the perspective of somebody else because people don't assume that everyone is actually hopefully coming from a good place, right? They might just have differing opinions.
That's true.
And like, I have plenty of friends and employees and whatever that I don't agree with what they, maybe their belief system, but I actually do want to learn more about it so that maybe I can understand it and learn a little bit more. And that dinner was like a perfect replication of that, where we all got to talk about the different journey that we had.
It's real stuff.
Yeah, and I'd love the audience to hear a little bit about your journey with that as well. Yeah. We'll get into what you do and all that shit later.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but like I love the personal connection stuff, that so people can take something from it and implement it into their life.
Absolutely. Where do I start, man?
Wherever you want, man.
We'll start at the end and then go to the beginning.
Love that.
I didn't realize that I was an alcoholic until 2 years after I stopped drinking.
Love that.
And it's the first time I've started to say this stuff, and it's crazy. It feels vulnerable.
Yeah.
I know many people, that's like part of their journey of stopping drinking. It's like, I'm an alcoholic.
Yep.
I'm going to stop drinking.
Yeah.
And I think I was a pretty good functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
But I gained 30 pounds in roofing. I didn't know how to chill out. Like, to me, like, that opening a beer, pouring a glass of scotch or whiskey was like the symbol of, okay, now the day's over.
Right.
Now I can relax. And it was also just in general, that mindset's just not healthy to be like, to compartmentalize. Everyone's like, there's work and life. Yep. And then like, I got to finish work and hurry up to relax, and then hurry up to relax to get back to work. And I started to get into this and peel back the layers. And there's a phenomenon called hurry sickness.
Hurry sickness?
Yeah, hurry sickness. It's a newer like name for people that I know resonated with me, of like, everything's always rushed. Everything's always trying to get on to the next thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we got to finish this interview. I got to get back to my booth.
Right.
I'm at the booth. When's dinner? When's the next thing?
Yeah.
And it's like not settling into the moment. So I started drinking to party because it's roofing. Like, you just like let loose. And then especially with the teammates, like there were guys on the team that it was like sharing a hotel room, traveling, events, like out till 4 a.m. And then it just became habit. And then I remember for a long time, if for anyone who does drink, this has probably happened, the 3 a.m. wake up. You're hungover, you're crippled with anxiety because the alcohol metabolism.
Yep.
You're stressed out, and you can't think, and you're swearing off alcohol. I feel like garbage. I'm never doing this again.
I'll never do it again, God.
You may or may not fall back asleep.
Right.
You wake up, and by 3 o'clock the next afternoon, you're like, can't wait to get home and have a drink.
Yep.
And when I lived that day after day after day after day, I'd wanted to stop drinking when I was like 19.
Oh, wow.
And I remember being in that place like, man, this isn't like good for anybody. It's the only time I would fight with my wife.
Right.
I love Sheena. We have an amazing relationship. Cut alcohol out. Of course, it's marriage, right? There's challenges.
Right.
But when I talk about like being a child and having an argument or getting into it. So she comes to me one day and she goes, when was the last time you went a year without drinking? I'm like, a year? It's like, I don't know. Like,
bitch, are you crazy?
Yeah. I'm like, puberty. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like before. So she goes, let's try it. And I'm like, you do you. Like,
yeah.
I get where you're going, whatever. So that night, I think it was that night, I was down doing a mountain bike event. And that was the thing, you mountain bike, like your adrenaline's up, you like bomb down a mountain, you're like, I didn't die, I didn't break anything this time, let's have some drinks.
Yeah.
And then we started bringing beers with on the trail, because it like, you know, you just drink
Smart.
and rip down the mountain.
Smart.
So I'm down at this event, this mountain bike event, and I remember I had like something shifted in my mind. I'm opening this beer and I'm like, I'm not, like my wife's on board, why am I not supporting her in this too, right? Because we drank together, but I drank way more than she did. And her story is different, her relationship's different. I only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I want to support my wife. So I was feeling weird having this beer. And then we got back to the campsite and I opened one more. I had 2 sips. It was the first time in my life I purposely poured a beer out. It was the last beer I ever drank. And ever since then, I don't look back at all. Like, I don't miss it. I know, and this is no judgment. Like, people, I got duped into being a vegan for 13 years. Okay? So, and I know I'm probably going to piss someone off, but I feel like I can share this on this show, right?
The purpose of this show is to piss people off.
Yeah, so I got...
Fuck it, that's all we do.
Dude, I drank the Kool-Aid, and I'm like, it's poison, animal love, it's not good. And then I'm sitting there, and then I had this, like, truth bombs dropped over me when someone was like, name one multi-generational society that was vegan. And you're like, oh, yeah, you can't because it makes people infertile. That's right. Okay.
It makes people infertile?
Yeah, it's one of the most common.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. And
really?
It's not all this stuff you got to really dig down, but one of the common symptoms of infertility for both men and women are pure plant-based diets.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I learned something new today.
Hormones are all transferred in fat soluble. Certain vitamins are only fat soluble. Go look at pictures since I'm on the internet everywhere.
Yeah.
When you look at old videos, my eyes are sunken and dark.
Did you hear that? He's on the internet everywhere.
I'm on the internet.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Search my name and you'll see me. Or search roofing sales. So all the old videos you'll see, and I work out less. I have more muscle tone.
Right.
Weird stuff happened.
Yeah.
When my wife told me to make that switch, or encouraged me, because she had some stuff come up. She's like, what's up, man? She's like, hey, we need to reevaluate this diet thing. And I'm like, this is my core belief, my worldview.
Right.
Same thing. I'm like, you do you, I'm out.
Who duped you?
I got duped from some like alternative healthcare practitioners in the beginning.
Okay.
And then I made some changes to my diet and it did help.
Yeah.
A lot of people do feel better going vegan or vegetarian, and it's great. It's a detoxifying diet.
Yeah.
Everyone will always feel better for a bit. And
right.
Some people it can be 6 months, some people it can be a few years, but usually at some point you end up high anxiety. You get, a lot of women will lose their period or have irregularity, fertility issues. I developed restless leg syndrome.
Really?
I couldn't focus. I had, again, higher levels of anxiety. My muscle tone was
Really?
I didn't really have any muscle tone anymore. And my libido, I'm sharing this on Authentic.
Yeah.
I had no libido. I started eating meat again. I'm like an 18-year-old rabbit.
No shit.
Like, I'm like, it's back. This is what it's like to be a man.
So mark the calendar. Today we got to talk about Adam's sex life, and first time that we've ever had the word period talked about on the show.
Do you hear that? We got real.
Yeah, we talked about period blood. Yeah,
Periods.
That's fantastic. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Pull that clip. That'll be good.
Right. Watch as Adam
That'll be a reel.
Shares this. This is a format unlike anything else. So I didn't believe it. I made some adjustments. She's like, just eat a little chicken, little fish, see how you feel.
Yeah.
I remember taking a bite of that first ribeye, and I was like, sustenance.
Really?
So
it affected you.
Oh my gosh. Your body,
That's
by the way,
awesome.
all the people that are like, oh, you're vegetarian or vegan, if you eat meat, you're going to get sick. That's the biggest crock of fear-mongering BS that ever existed. I ate a ribeye, and I hadn't eaten meat in 13 years.
And you orgasmed.
And I was fine, and I orgasmed. I was like, Sheena, let's go.
Let's go. I got meat in me, lady.
I got meat. So it was, a lot of life choices, but looking back, especially with the combination, my mental clarity increased. I started sleeping better. I don't miss it. I read a book for anyone who might be on the fence, or even if you don't think you have a problem, who cares if you do or don't. Read the book. Wait, it's on the tip of my tongue. This Naked Mind.
Okay.
This Naked Mind. It was written by a woman who was in the marketing world. Okay. Traveling, going to shows. Drinking is like part of the whole thing.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
Like roofers, right? Yep. You're at a show and go out to dinners and everyone's drinking all the time.
Yep.
She talked about all those pressures and how that developed into alcoholism for her. And then starting to look at it differently. And one thing that really stuck with me is, imagine substituting heroin for alcohol. You're like, oh man, I couldn't show up to work today. I just had too much of a bender last night, and I was actually just like passed out. Right. You're like, oh, that's cool, man. It happens to all of us.
Right.
Like the minute you change if you substitute alcohol, which they're all drugs.
Yeah.
Right. They're all poison.
Yeah.
I don't care if you agree with it or not. Let's just call it what it is.
Yep.
It's poison. And don't get me wrong, like I eat sugar and cake. People can say it's poison too, so I'm not on some high horse preaching at anyone. But if you substitute that word, now it changes things in your head. Yep. But it's so socially acceptable. Oh yeah, he showed up sick to work today. He's barfing, but don't worry, we'll get out and knock some doors in a little bit.
Right.
But it's like, no, he's just detoxing from a heroin overdose. Like he'll be good.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, get rid of that guy.
Right.
So it's just it reshaped things for me, and I've shared that book with a lot of people, and
what was it called again?
It's called This Naked Mind.
This Naked Mind. Write that down.
The author, I forget
down.
her name, is a female author, but I really recommend that to a lot of people.
Cool.
I think that's a good one to read.
The thing I want to kind of finish up with is I want to commend you, because I've seen you from afar. We haven't, we got that opportunity to have dinner together or whatever, and I got to hear your story and your presentation at American Contractor Show, and I do not say this about many people. I love your shit.
Thanks, man.
Like I really genuinely do. I love how it's very specific to our industry, because there's so much quote unquote training out there and coaches and whatever, and they kind of pick something else that it's not that it's not helpful.
Sure.
Right? It's not that it's not helpful, but when you hire a sales team to come in and try to build your business, there is very specific training that you need. And I wanted to say thank you and commend you for what you do that is very specific and a very specific need to the industry, because you talk about roofing. I mean, you go look at a lot of different training platforms. You don't see anybody talk about a contingency.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just don't. Like we had to make our own videos about why a contingency, what it really means, and how you get somebody to fucking sign it.
Yeah.
Right? Like we had to make those ourselves because nobody had that out there, right?
Yeah.
And when I learned more about you, I was all in, and like literally after that dinner that we had and got to know each other, and then I got to see you speak, I think I gave your name to like 8 different large companies that were trying to scale their residential department. Sure. And I'm like, dude, I've used this, but literally after sitting and having dinner with Adam, if you don't fucking call him, you're an asshole. Like you're an idiot if you don't look into Adam's shit. And the fact that you give so much free value out there is huge, right? Yeah. And that's the name of the game today, right? You got to give some free value out there so people can really find out who you are. Yeah. But please share your platforms and stuff, because people need in this industry, if you're in the roofing industry, not everybody watching is, but if you're in the roofing industry, you need to take the time to go look at Adam's shit. Like it's legit and for real, and I don't say that very often about very many people.
Dude, thanks. That means a lot to me. I pour my heart into this stuff. I truly love what I do.
Tell.
I'm passionate about it, and I found that 66% of roofing salespeople, this is my estimation.
You just made that number up.
Well, listen, hear me out. No, I'm curious if you agree, because people go.
I make numbers up all the time.
So you could say it's made up, right? Like I can't survey every roofing salesperson, but anecdotally from working, I now have thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of users. We're in every state in the U.S. Storm in retail, tiny companies, top 100, and Owens Corning just selected me as their new official sales training partner.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
They've been just the most amazing partners. And it's been so fun being on the road. But being out with these folks, and I'll answer the question of the platform, but being out with folks, I'm like, 66% of roofing salespeople quit or get fired in their first year, agree or disagree. And then I hear some people say it's higher. I've never once had someone say it's lower.
Really?
And I know that there are companies that will have lower that turnover. I do get that. But in general, the core of the message, right? It's not the number. It's the fact that most people fail, they quit or they get fired. And then we have to ask, well, why is that? And the number one reason is they're not prepared.
Yep.
And I know you're right. There's not stuff that's so dialed in specific. So I just wanted to give the people that came into this the fighting chance.
Yep.
That if I wanted to create literally a formula, and that's what I've done in our program called the Roofing Sales Success Formula, is a formula that as long as you plug someone who's a good fit for your company and the industry in, which I teach you how to do, if you get that and they are doing the right sales activities every day, which I remove that mystery and say, do this, 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 and this, and then give them the training of what to say when they present, pitch, overcome objections, and close, so canvassing, objections, in-home, then growth goes gangbusters. Yep. And I just okay, so we just had to figure out how to help people find the right people, get them doing the right thing and saying the right thing, and then get them trained up really quick. And my training system will get them trained up in 9.5 hours, current hires and then all the future ones. Is
that right? Is that what the number is? 9.5 hours?
It might change soon because I'm updating and refilming here in Q1. So it might be a little bit more.
So let me ask you a question real quick about that, because we are revamping our entire sales training process over the winter. Because my sales manager left and went somewhere else. I thought he was handling that. He was not handling it very well with the platform that we were using. And so we're going to revamp the whole thing. I was going to have a conversation with you because I want to figure out how we put your stuff in there as well. But my office manager, director of operations, as we like to call Chris, she's got a background in she's military and training. Yeah. And she brought to me the idea of, and I didn't think of this, and I'm sure maybe you do it, but in having, everybody's got their university and they've got their videos and their training, but who has, and if you don't, tell me if this is a good idea or not, do you get done with something and then say, here's the practical application, now go do this to practice this before you come back to move on to the next hours? And I was like, well, that's, obviously, but it made so much sense and it was so common sense, but I never executed that and said, no, you don't get to do this now until you master this by actually, whether it's just role playing or it's going out in the field for 3 hours or it's whatever. Is that something that you preach?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sales is applied psychology, right? Yep. And people ask me, by the way, I want to give some advice to everybody who's tuning in, no matter what platform you're using. Right. You made your own, you're using someone else's, it does not matter. People ask me all the time, I want a login so I can see who's doing what. Right. And this, I can say this, I can be an asshole on this podcast, right? It's encouraged. Why are you babysitting? You're literally allowing crap behavior. You're coming to me saying, I don't trust my team, so I want to micromanage them and know who's doing it. Right. And I'm sitting here thinking, why wouldn't it be more effective to find a way to control the environment where you don't have that as a question? So then I ask, well, why do you want that? Well, I want to know who's in there. Why is it an option, right? So no matter what, I say bring everyone into the office and treat the initial rollout as a formal training. Yep. And I only learned this because companies that were the most successful, like one company went from 5 million to 20 million in a year, which is crazy. Yeah. I had a sales guy leave training and sign 8 deals. I just shook hands with a dude who watched my stuff, and he used to be getting $60,000 a year job offers. He just earned 30 grand last month in commissions. Wow. When we control the environment, say you're going to watch everything together, now we have team building. We have accountability. There's no mystery. So then everyone's like, well, do you have tests or quizzes? I'm like, yeah, that'll be great. So when your sales rep's out in the home, the homeowner's going to say, which box is it, A, B, or C? Like, no one cares. Right. The only way is to apply it. Yeah. So I geek out on how people learn. Yeah. And one of the things that I'm doing on our next round of updates, and all of our folks get access for free to the updates for life, is having the rep teach the formulas, teach the process. Because when we recall, we teach. So that's the best way, is to say, all right, you just learned the SLAP formula, now teach it to someone. Okay, great. Say hi, break the ice. Let them know why I'm there. Ask an open-ended question, present to their answer. Awesome. Okay, what are the 4 scenarios for storm? No claim, partial payment, denial, check in hand. What are the different mindsets? What are you talking about? How bad is it, right? And they shake those out. Retail, what are the 4 reasons people replace a roof? And when they start answering, so there's teaching and quizzing, and then there's the applied part. That's all we care about.
Right.
How are they going to perform in the real world? And that's what I'm speaking about here at Roofing Process.
Awesome.
is the cheat code to double your sales skills in 21 days or less. And shake the numbers out, it's undeniable.
Right.
There's a spoiler at the end, but it's actually higher than 2x. No one would believe me and show up, but this will air after that.
Right.
Maybe, unless this is live. Is this live?
No.
Okay. But doing role play in the office, and then that way you can work out the kinks. Otherwise, we're literally gambling in the most high-stakes game of our life. And people say, you're being dramatic, and I say, how? You're commission only.
Right.
You're the sole income earner or breadwinner, chances are.
Right.
So every time that you practice in the real world and you mess up, you're taking food out of your wife's mouth, your kid's mouth, their college fund, the house fund, and whatever else you wanted to do.
Right.
Work out those kinks in practice.
Right.
And then go. And most owners and managers have zero idea what's going on in the home. I was one of those people until I started doing role play. So wrapping that up in a bow, treat any training system you use as a formal process. Team building, get everyone there. That way there's no mystery.
Yep.
Pump everyone through it together. Have people teach each other, so that's recall. Quiz them to then be able to answer those questions. It's a different type of learning. And then apply it via role play.
Love that.
And if you do those 3 things together, your team will be a powerhouse. And then what we do differently is we make sure everyone has a login. So when it is crazy and you want to go back, you can go do it. When you got your teeth kicked in at the door and you're like, I didn't overcome that objection well, they can log in, objection strategy, scroll down, watch, refresh.
Right.
And it's in their pocket. So the whole idea is to really arm the team with what they need. And so many leaders are like, well, I don't want to arm them with enough too much because then they'll go, I'm like,
right.
That's like being like, I really want an amazing marriage, but I'm not going to tell my wife a thing about my past.
Right.
I'm not going to open up to her because I might get hurt. Right. It's like, great, you'll have a really crappy marriage.
Yeah.
Like vulnerability,
I love
which I love what Brene Brown describes vulnerability, is the courage to show up without any control of the outcome.
Right.
Can show up and bring your best without any, you can't control it. And that's all we can do is give. If we want our team to perform the best, we have to give them our best, knowing they're either not going to work, maybe, they're going to screw us over and go start for someone. But that stuff's all going to happen no matter whether you choose to give them something or not.
Right.
So why not just like invest in the team and let them kick butt?
100%. I love that.
Yeah.
So the way that we end every show is, I always feel like everybody, and I know this is kind of last minute, so you might not, but everybody always kind of has something in the back of their mind. Yeah. They're like, I kind of wanted to say this and something, like that maybe I missed. And so I always give the floor back to the guests for the last couple of minutes. And if there's something that was kind of itching on the back of your brain that you're like, man, I really want the people to walk away with this is a time for that.
Perfect. I do have something. I didn't know this was coming, but I've got something that's been ringing true with me lately. Is I've been geeking out on Stoicism, ancient Stoic philosophy. And they say in Stoicism there's 2 things we can control in life. One is our judgments and the other is our actions. So things happen to us, we can't control them. The only things we can control is our judgment to something. Like if you leaned over and slapped me across the face, I can't do anything about it. It's like, you're an asshole, but why'd you do that?
Right.
So I'm going to judge that action and be like Eric's whatever, he was being playful.
Right.
I can choose that, and then I can choose how to respond.
Right.
So when we put our energy in, when we understand this, that to me was really empowering. And it led me down this path of focus of like, wow, those are the only 2 things I can control. Blended with Brene Brown's concept of the courage of the willingness to show up and bring your best self, no matter what the outcome is. So I'm like, there's Stoicism marrying. So my entire existence, I've felt like I've been in a psychedelic flow state for the last 3 months. By the way, I'm not doing psychedelics. Because I'm so intentionally focused on just being better than I was the last minute, the last day. And I am committed to mastering my craft. It's not about out-competing. I don't care about winning.
Right.
I don't care about being the best against anybody. It doesn't matter to me. It's about what I'm doing.
Right.
And I see that as a conscious choice. And I wasn't put on this, I don't have a passion about roofing, I don't care, but I know I was put on this earth to help people communicate. So the message that I wanted to leave everyone with that context is, as a salesperson, as an owner, as a leader, the best way for you to grow in life is to just commit to doing the best you can. If you're sweeping rugs every day or vacuuming rugs every day, be the best freaking rug vacuumer you can. That's a choice you can make. And that's what gives meaning to the mundane when you're putting knuckles on a door and getting rejected. When you're sitting there at your CRM being like, oh, I hate admin work. If you're like, how do I do this better? How do I optimize? How do I live my life better? How do I balance my life better? How do I manage my time better? How do I communicate better? How do I make sales better? And then it becomes this like really whole fun game of just gamifying your existence. And we can do it with anything that we set out to do. And it's just a choice. So it's like, you can either try to do what you're passionate about, which I did. Another thing, since we're on this show, you don't know this about me. I only started recently sharing this out loud because I wanted to gross people out. I was a licensed massage therapist. I was also a colon hydrotherapist.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. So colon hydrotherapist, imagine you got it in your mind. That's exactly what it is. I was a butt flusher.
How the fuck do you get into butt flushing?
It actually is quite good for you. And
sure
if you've ever received it, it's actually quite phenomenal afterwards. You feel amazing.
Yeah.
So I laughed. I've only started sharing this on these OC events and I'm talking with people, but natural medicine I was passionate about, and it led me to being broke.
Yeah.
So there's this myth of do what you're passionate about and you'll make money.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Right.
You can make a choice though, and you can be passionate about what you do, and you'll make a shitload of money.
Right.
So that's been my one thing. If everyone would leave, don't do what you're passionate about. Just be passionate about what you do, because that's a choice you make. You can control that. So no matter what your role is, be passionate about what you do.
I feel like we glossed over the butt flushing. Like, that just kind of got dropped in there, but I didn't get any more.
Do you want more detail?
I want more context.
So the way it works, I studied an older form of colon hydrotherapy, which is a colonic.
Yeah.
And since we're on this gross show, we'll get real. Your patient lays on his or her side, and you are gloved up naturally. The apparatus is essentially a steel butt plug.
Steel.
Once it's inserted, the center pulls out and a hose hooks on. And the hose allows water in, water out. You control the water flow, and you have a valve to let water in and out. And the whole mission is they call it a cecum dump. Your cecum is at the where your small intestine comes in.
Yeah.
That's what gets literally clogged. People have impacted colons.
Yeah.
So based on the visual of what comes through the clear tubes, you can visually see what's coming out.
Cool.
The whole idea is to pump water and access the cecum and flush it till the cecum relaxes and releases everything. And when that stuff releases, the patient feels like you just had like the stomach flu, and it's like hot belly.
Yeah.
And then all of this, what looks like motor oil, comes out. And you're done when it is clear. And depending on how impacted, that could be one treatment or it could take like 10 treatments for some
Oh my
people.
God. I hate the fact that I think I need to do this.
I know. And believe it or not, like the pain thing, especially dudes are like, I don't want something, like, get over it. It's really not painful. It's not. And when you are done, your head is clear. It's digestive stuff is very common with headaches.
Yeah.
So a lot of people suffer with headaches on that. Your digestion improves, you feel lighter. It's really, it is honestly the most detoxifying feeling. You leave, you're like, whoa.
Wow.
Like everyone reports it, like, they're like, why do my eyes feel different?
So if I'm going to Google this.
Colonic. You Google colonic.
Okay. So at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Yes, but the newer machines are designed. They've neutered the ancient practices.
Okay.
The ancient practice, it's a gravity-fed system.
Yeah.
So your 5-gallon jug is sitting above the table, temperature controlled, everything, and then it's gravity-fed. The new systems, you go to the doctor's office, you sit in a chair, and there's not a person. It's just like pumps water up. But the way that I learned it, which there's only a few practitioners left. You're able to control the flow by adjusting the hose pressure, because the hose.
I don't want to control the flow.
Yeah, no, you do. It's more comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, it's way more comfortable.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing though.
And no,
I didn't go to school to flush butts.
The practitioner will be in charge of the whole operation.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but if you search colonics, they're a phenomenal thing. But that's the most detailed. So funny enough, you get real. Like I'm in massage therapy school. I was the first dummy student, so I'm sitting there on my side with all of my peers.
Really?
Yeah. Including this girl I was kind of seeing at the time, which was funny. So you're on your side, and you're like, and this is how you put this in. And, you got your lube.
That's hilarious.
And then you got to make sure everyone sees. So you can visualize this, my friends, that's your cheek.
Yeah.
And you're laying on your side. See? It's like,
wow.
So anyway, that was like the indoctrination.
And you're dating a gal.
Right? Yeah.
That's hilarious. Oh my God. Well, this is the best ending to any podcast we've ever had.
And if you want more, go to the Rooster Chatter's YouTube channel.
Google colonic and Adam Bensman.
Yeah. So my presentation had a picture of me in my little hippie hat at the school. And,
oh my God, that's fantastic.
But yeah, so now we went down that.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks
honestly,
for having
thank
me.
you for taking the time. I know you're a busy man.
Oh, we're all busy people.
Love your shit. Everybody, look up Adam. What's your handle? Shit.
If you search the Roof Strategist anywhere,
Roof
you'll find it
Strategist.
on YouTube.
Okay.
I do 2 new training videos every week.
Awesome.
We're on the Roof Strategist podcast, available everywhere.
Awesome.
We're on Instagram, Facebook, and you can, if you just search Roof Strategist, you'll see us.
Awesome.
We got a whole free and a brand new free training center. So if you go, any of our videos will be a link in the description. We got a free training center. You can also go to theroofstrategist.com. And I forgot, we got one more thing. Text the word free, FREE, to this number, 303-222-7133. 303-222-7133. It'll just pop you a link, and you get in the new free training center. We're dumping a bunch of, like, all the free stuff I had. There's even more, and it's all in there.
Cool.
There's no catch. We're not going to kill you. So
thank you for doing what you do.
Thanks
I appreciate
for being here. You
sir.
too, man. This is awesome.
Thank you. It's been great having you here.
Yeah.
And remember, everybody, be authentic or get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.